Inside the mind of an ISIS killer, Benjamin Hall just returned from Iraq, where he met with several Islamic State fighters face to face, and their rationale and answers are stunning. Benjamin's back in London now with more on these extraordinary interviews. And what did you learn, Ben?
Bill, it is so hard in general to get information out of ISIS. There are very few informants in that group, and so the facility we visited was a real goldmine of information. But more than that, it was just terrifying to look in the eyes of these ISIS fighters, listen to them talking about how they had killed hundreds, including women and children. Behind each one of these doors is an ISIS prisoner guilty of killing many people. Some of them show remorse, others feel no guilt at all. Abu Omar, 25, started as a guard at a checkpoint in Mosul, arresting women who weren't veiled, but quickly moved up the ranks to making and setting bombs. He calmly told us about one of his many deadly attacks.
I picked up the car with the bomb and parked it near a busy cafe, close to some traffic police. I then got out, walked away, and called a number on my phone and blew it up.
Now, he said that he heard the screams that that bomb created afterwards and that the devastation left by it. He was there, he saw it, but he said he had a license to kill. Most worryingly, though, we also spoke to another prisoner who said he had come across American fighters inside ISIS. Take a listen. Can you tell us about the Americans that you met?
There were 2 or 3 of them among the foreigners, fighting and training others. They were more radical than the others. They were in charge of threats against the West.
So, you know, we've always known that there were foreign fighters in ISIS, but we always thought French, Germans. We've always known that they wanted to attack the West. But here, listening to this, concrete evidence that they had a cell targeting directly threats against the West. I mean, it was quite amazing to hear.
You know, 2 years ago, Benjamin, when we first met, you were on the trail of ISIS, literally, in Syria and Iraq. When you met these killers in jail in Iraq today, have they changed or progressed, or is there much difference between your discussions now and what you found and discovered 2 years ago?
You know, Bill, their rationale for committing these crimes remains the same. They say this is a global war that God has allowed them to, that the caliphate will take over the world. But the big change I noticed, they're now morphing. They know that they're losing territory. They know that they will no longer be a conventional fighting force. And so they're preparing to become an insurgency. And a lot of the people we spoke to come from sleeper cells inside Baghdad, who are preparing to launch attacks. And that is what's going to happen. So whereas 2 years ago I saw them launching attacks, taking territory, now they're looking ahead. How do they survive once they've been defeated on the battlefield? And that is a big shift that we're seeing.
Was there any moral clarity in this? Was there any sense of remorse from any of those you spoke with?
You know, the only remorse I heard were from people who did say, we wish we hadn't done it now. We know it was wrong. I find it hard to believe many of them. You know, they were in these cells. Of course, they want their freedom. But no, among others, they said this is what we were, you know, tasked to do. It came from above. We'll keep fighting. And again, always America. America was the country that invaded us. America are our enemies. So that driving force still very much behind them. That you see in their eyes.
Insightful and disturbing, too. Benjamin Hall, good reporting there with the insight from Iraq. Thank you, Ben.